Do you ever wonder if you're running too hard while you're out there on your runs?
Well, let me tell you, if you ask that, you probably are running too hard.
I get asked this question almost by every athlete and or person that I meet when we talk about running. How do you know if you're running too hard? And it's a normal question. I literally have been there, done that, and definitely been running way too hard when I shouldn't have been. But I feel like as all of us get into running, we get on social media, we see everything that's coming out, and we're like, gosh, these people are running fast, or the way they run, they look like this. And then we try to mimic that and then burn ourselves out or just run ourselves into the ground. So, I personally love rate of perceived exertion or effort, however you want to look at it. But I highly, highly suggest if you are an ultra runner, you consider taking on the rate of perceived effort when in training, not heart rate based training. Now, what the heck does that even mean? Rate of perceived effort, rate of perceived exertion? What do you mean? Just like how I feel? Yes, that's exactly how I mean. So, when training for ultras, when training for any race, normal day to day life can be stressful. Stress on the body releases so much within the body that honestly just stresses us out, not only mentally, physically. Most important thing is the physical aspect that stress plays on our body throughout day to day life. You don't get enough sleep, stressed. You don't eat enough, stressed. Your child has you up all night, stressed. Your dogs wake you up super early in the morning, stressed. Whether it could be super, super high stress, super, super low stress, the accumulation of stress on the body can be super high and honestly play such a big role on us and we don't even realize it, especially if we're females. I hate to call us out, but as females know, the body goes through a cycle and the cycle is doing some crazy things and our hormones are all out of whack and it will genuinely fluctuate on how your body feels within a couple days, within a couple weeks, you know the whole deal. So running at a rate of perceived exertion, in my opinion, is the best for ultra running because you can handle the amount of stress plus the amount of stress you are using in training and handle it all super, super well. And also, if I use exertion, if I use effort, it's all the same. I will probably preface this with saying RPE because it's just short and sweet. So, RPE is used because it assesses how our body actually feels from day to day. A prime example, I live here in Florida. Some days it's real hot, some mornings it's a little chilly. Like this morning, I literally had to put on a hoodie to take my dogs out, which is uncommon. But it's getting a little chilly. That means it's not as hot out. So when I go out and run, I'm going to feel so much better compared to when I was running in the heat of the heat and the sun, the humidity was just killing my actual feeling while I was out there running. The body notices heat, the body notices stress. So if you can dial in your RPE and actually run at an easy effort, a pace that you could carry all day, you'd then be running your runs the way you should. Now, what do you mean I should be running an easy pace, a pace that feels great, and then I'd be set? What does that mean? Okay, so I use rate of perceived effort, and it can be categorized tons of different ways. I am an everyday ultra coach, and within us as a team, we use an RPE guide that is very different compared to some, but not in the sense of we use 2 to 3 as an easy pace, and some people use 4 to 5. Some people use a 1 to 2. So there's a variety of different ways. So I'm going to explain how we do it as our team and a good way for you to realize what the ranges of RPE can be used and how to use them. So majority of your runs are 2 to 3 rate of perceived effort. This is an effort, a pace that you should be able to carry all day, every day. We should be able to have a conversation like this when I am chatting with people. An easy way for me to be able to tell if you are actually carrying a 2 to 3 rate of perceived effort is by you sending me a voice message or a video telling me about your day while you're in the middle of your run. Because you're already halfway there. If you're running way too fast, I'm going to be able to tell you're huffing and puffing and can't hear what the heck they're trying to tell me. That way, also, too, you're not fresh and you're feeling great. Like you've put some work in to be able to hear that voice and hear how you're sounding. And the reason it's, an effort, not so much like a pace, is because some days you're feeling really good and your pace could be a little faster than other days. It could be a little chillier outside, as I mentioned earlier. It could be that you got a great night of sleep, that you got all the food in you from all day long and you're running midday or late in the evening and you're just super pumped to do a workout. And who knows, maybe you're just in a really, really good mood and things go better. Or you're super tired, you're really fatigued, and maybe you need to take a rest day, but you're like, you know what, I'm stubborn. We're all stubborn ultra runners here. And you go out for a run anyway, and you're really tired and you feel like you're dragging yourself through this run. If genuinely that's how you're feeling, just stop. Take the run back. It's not worth it. But if you're in that type of situation, dial it back. Make sure you're at that 2 to 3 rate of perceived effort. All right, next we have the 4 to 5 rate of perceived effort. So this is still considered an easy effort. It is a steady state effort. So I throw in steady state efforts in training, in runs. It spices things up. It gives people a little bit of a push. Sometimes I use this in the aspect of growing someone's durability, because I will throw in this little bit of a bump in training to get them running a little faster, to get them a little more tired, and then throw in some more running. It's a good deal. But I also have to preface this. It is not a faster run in the sense of they're anything above a threshold or around a threshold. It's a 4 to 5. The steady state effort should be an effort that you can hold and say a couple sentences. Something where it's casual, but not as easy, obviously, as it would be for a 2 to 3 rate of perceived effort. It is building up that aerobic base. It's easy efforts, nothing in the sense of a higher elevated effort or heart rate. I hate to tell you heart rate when I tell you I don't train in heart rate, but you know what I'm saying when I say it like that. So when we get to 6 and above, that is higher intensity. That is putting more load on the body. So 6 to a 7 rate of perceived effort is a threshold or tempo style run. It is a higher exerted effort. A threshold effort is anything that, in my opinion, you can say one-ish sentence to a couple words. It is higher intensity. It is hard on the body. It's not easy to just easily have conversations like this. You are pushing yourself and the oxygen is like not there and you're trying to get it in. These are anaerobic. So your body is just fighting for everything. So being able to get out some sentences is very, very hard. So 6 to 7 rate of perceived effort, very few words to maybe a sentence is to be able to get out. And then if we go to an 8 to a 9, that is VO2 work. You better only be able to get out one word, maybe two words, but I want one. I want you pushing yourself. This is a freaking sprint. And when I say that, it's not an all-out sprint. In my opinion, a all-out sprint is something where you can barely hold it for 30 seconds. That is not the case when it comes to rate of perceived efforts in a VO2 8 to 9 effort. When I say that, and I get this question a lot, and I honestly deal with this all the time in training when I'm coaching someone, is I will give them a one by one VO2 workout. What that means is they have 1 minute sprint, 1 minute cool down. A lot of people assume that in that 1 minute interval, they need to be running as hard as they can for that 1 minute. That is absolutely not true. That is not the way you do it. I want to keep this video really brief. That's the whole point of these videos. It's keep them brief, educational, and get them out there. So maybe in one episode I'll explain like intervals a little better. But what I'm saying is that in a 1-to-1 and you're in a VO2 workout, it should be an effort that you can hold for 12 minutes within that 1 minute, not a full out sprint for 1 minute. When we go back to threshold, that effort of a threshold typically is anything that you can hold for 45 minutes to an hour. So, and that's a whole nother conversation to have, but we're talking about rate of perceived effort, right? So rate of perceived effort is huge. The reason why you would use rate of perceived effort, in my opinion, and studies show, is to be able to actually listen to your body and train accordingly. Now, if you're training for a marathon, I'm going to be honest, it is typically a lot better to train off of heart rate because you are trying to hit a time goal and your running is a little different. And we're running ultras. It's honestly way different. And not to mention, if we're running ultras, a prime example, there's this thing called cardiac drift. And what that is through training and super, super long runs, eventually your heart rate will actually elevate the longer you are actually out there running. So say you're out there for 3 hours and you're about to get on hour 3.5, 4, 5, and you look down and you realize your heart rate's kind of elevated, but yet you're in an easy effort and you're still feeling really, really good. That's normal. That's cardiac drift. That's your body putting in tons of work and kind of getting exerted and being like, I think something's wrong. My heart rate's going to elevate a little bit. It's normal. It is completely normal. Another reason, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the reason to train off of rate of perceived effort over heart rate is a couple like factors. Mention cardiac drift. Also the heat. The heat will elevate your heart rate. Ugh. And it does tire your body out. So listening to your body is way more important than seeing that your heart rate is slightly elevated. Also, believe it or not, consumption of nutrition, hydration will also elevate your heart rate. Your body's doing work. It's digesting food. It's trying to get the water to flow through the body to do the thing that you're doing. So your heart rate will technically elevate sometimes. Another huge thing that is always forgotten about is caffeine. When taking caffeine, our heart rate gets elevated. It is a stimulus. We will use it and abuse it for runs. So, and races. So, realizing that caffeine will also increase your heart rate is good because there's a lot of times, especially in these 100, 200 mile plus races, where we need caffeine and it's gonna increase our heart rate. So, being not so concerned on how high your heart rate is super, super important. I feel like something that's always forgotten about, well, two things actually that are forgotten about a lot with elevated heart rate as well, is elevation. Being in elevation typically is harder to breathe because the air and all of that good stuff. So please understand that if you're in elevation, there's a good likelihood that you will have trouble with having a higher heart rate. Typically, it's nothing like super extreme, but an elevated heart rate is completely normal. And finally, your nerves. We are nervous people and we get really nervous when we're about to do something crazy, audacious, and something that is completely unknown for us. So it's normal to have an elevated heart rate when you're out there training for a race or you're in a race. I've had athletes come to me that said the first 20 miles were super crazy because my heart rate was super elevated and I don't know why. And I'm like, well, like, were you nervous? Because a lot of times we're nervous and you think 20 miles, that's a long time. But when you're training and prepping for a 100-mile race, 20 miles is only a little bit of that race. So, knowing that you have an elevated heart rate during races, knowing you're catching cutoffs or you're not hitting your goal, that stresses you out. It elevates your heart rate. So, having nerves during races and during even long runs is completely normal and something that will elevate your heart rate. So, rate of perceived effort, I think I've beaten it enough for you guys to know it is the way you guys should be training for ultra running. I highly, highly, highly encourage it. If you guys want to hear more about intervals and how I recommend training for intervals, leave a comment below and let me know, and I will make another little video about this. If you don't, let me know a topic that you guys want to hear, and I will do my best to get it out there. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I can only grow this channel with all of your help, and I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to me talk about these crazy topics and support me as who I am. I appreciate all of you so much.